Wladimir Klitschko was pulled out of his IBF mandatory title defense against Kubrat Pulev. The early reports stated that he had suffered an Achilles tendon injury, but now the reports are saying that he has suffered a bicep injury. The last time that Wladimir Klitschko pulled out of a fight, to my knowledge, was against Derek Chisora, where he pulled out of 2 scheduled bouts with Derek Chisora. And shortly after the second time he pulled out of the Chisora fight, he announced that he was fighting David Haye in a unification fight. Now, Bernd Bonter, the manager of Wladimir Klitschko, has made no secret of the fact in recent months that he's not interested in Wladimir fighting Kubrat Pulev, and that he would rather see Wladimir fight Stavern. Don King, it seems, has been trying to do everything he can to get Stavern out of his fight with Deontay Wilder. And it would seem that Don King would rather have Stavern fight the unification with Klitschko than fight a mandatory defense against Wilder. I'm speculating here, but I would assume that Don King would rather, in an ideal world, have Stavern fight a couple easy voluntary defenses, or at least one voluntary defense, before he fights Wilder or Klitschko. But given the fact that he's not being allowed to do that, the only option for him is try and get a unification or have Stavern face his mandatory. Now, Stavern has postponed the Wilder fight. Just as Klitschko has postponed his mandatory against Pulev, Stavern has postponed his mandatory against Wilder, citing a hand injury. So that's something to think about. The last time Klitschko pulled out of a fight, he went on to fight a unification. Could we see something like that happen here with both Klitschko and Stavern both pulling out of their fights? Could there be a unification in the works behind the scenes? Another thing to think about is the fact that Kubrat Pulev has been making a very big deal of the drug testing, and he's managed to gather a lot of media attention around his claims that he's been tested 3 times in the last 10 days, random drug testing, but Klitschko's not been tested at all. So I don't know how much pressure there is on Klitschko to go through with the testing. I'm not sure. But that's something to think about. Also, Wladimir Klitschko's trainer, Jonathan Banks, said just a few days ago, actually, or a week ago maybe, within the last week, I'm sure, he said that Klitschko's been training like a machine for this fight, and that he's been doing 15 or 16 rounds in sparring at a good pace. Now, for a man who is 250 pounds of solid muscle, not even an ounce of fat on him, to be able to do 15 and 16 rounds at a good pace and be, damn near 40 years old, that is pretty much unprecedented. I don't know any heavyweight in the history of the sport with that type of physique and size at that age that can do 15 and 16 rounds at a good pace. I mean, I've got no idea how anyone could possibly do that at that age with that type of physique and size without some other type of help. I'm not accusing him. I'm just saying that I don't know how he could do it without some other type of help. And what I will say as well is that if he's pushing his body that hard to, do 15 or 16 rounds of sparring at a good pace at his age, inevitably you're going to pick up injuries. So it could be a genuine injury. It could very well be a genuine injury. Because like I say, man, at that kind of age, your body just can't take the kind of pounding that it took when you were 28. So it is what it is. I'm not really going to say too much more about this situation. Drop your comments below and let me know what you think. This is Hatman, I'm out.